Okay, everybody ready?
Go.
Okay, the question says, what is your earliest memory of your mother?
We were in the living room on the floor, and she always, that was a spot where she always taught me stuff. And so she was
She said she said in the living room on the floor. That's what she always taught her stuff at, was in the living room on the floor.
Okay. How about you, Uncle Tom?
Okay, my first memory is when everybody was gone to school except me. I wasn't in the first grade, so I would be at home with Mom. And what happened is she would bring Aunt Pat over all the time, Aunt Pat and Wilma Jean. And so me and Wilma Jean would play together all the time. And Mama and Aunt Pat would be sitting in the other room. They'd be talking, and I don't know if I don't want to say it was gossiping and stuff, but they was talking and going on and on. And one thing me and Wilma and Jean picked up was what they would say, this one's PG or this one's PG, and so on and so on. So finally, we decided to ask them, what does PG mean? And so they didn't know what to say. Aunt Pat tried to circle around it, but Mother says, well, that's mean when somebody's going to have a baby. And so we me and Wilma Jean, we was pretty good buddies back then. And we thought, oh, so that's what that meant. But I mean, that was a big deal for us because we didn't know what that was. But we asked her. But I remember that.
All right. How about you, Uncle Andy?
Okay. Well, I remember when I was going to school one day. We were going, and this dog jumped out at me. Of course, I told my mother. So she went to the school with me the next morning and tried to talk to the principal and that. And he said, well, the dog is only like 2 years old, so I'm not sure he knows about bites. I said, well, a guy was standing in the door with him and turned him loose when the kids started out. And for some reason, I was the one. And then my mother went and she went to the principal and she told him everything. She always spoke up and always stood, took care of us when we were there. My dad, he worked, he had about 3 or 4 jobs. When we got older, we helped him a lot. But she was always, every time we had a problem, she always came to the school and took care of it. And that's what I remember most about it.
Mama, you're up.
Okay, well, it's not an early memory, but it is a memory of my mother because once I took sewing in junior high, I used to sew on her sewing machine, which is a treadle machine, and use your finger. And I had told her that I needed a new modern one. That wasn't me. So she let me buy one, and I had it on kind of layaway, had to make monthly payments. But she didn't argue with me on that I needed to have a more modern sewing machine rather than the one that she had. The treadle machine was just, I don't know, as a kid, it just wasn't me.
So, Uncle Jerry, how about you? What's the earliest memory of your mother?
I guess I was probably 5 years old and I wanted to go to school because all my older siblings went to school. And she said, you're not old enough. So I had to wait another year before I could start school. And the funny thing I found out later, though, is Johnny started school when he was 5. That's one of the memories I had. And, there's several other ones, but what I always remember is that she believed in good order and discipline, and that you needed to follow rules and you needed to get a good education. So that's pretty much, but my first memory was about going to Lincoln School. Okay, I wanted to go to Lincoln School with my other siblings. I did go to like kindergarten at St. Paul's or something, which was crazy, but anyhow. But the thing I really wanted and that first memory was I wanted to go to Lincoln School with my siblings. That's it for me.
All right. So this next question is open to anybody. Do you remember your mom describing anything about her childhood or telling you what it was like for her growing up?
What I'm going to say is they never really talked about their past. And just like Thomas said, they talked amongst themselves and said, PG, you wanted to know what that was. But they really didn't share. As far as I know, she didn't share and said she had to have a hard life because she had to quit school. I can't imagine it was easy, but I didn't realize this until later on in life.
What I remember, and I don't know who I got it from, I thought it was Mom, but she said at age 11, she became the mother of the home because she was the oldest girl. A youngster, how can you even think of that in your head, right? And so I said, oh, okay. Can you imagine, though, at 11, she took care of all her siblings and cooked meals and all that stuff, okay? I don't know whether she told me or who did, but that's what I remember about her growing up.
Lynette, Frederica was talking about what she heard about Grandma's childhood.
She was the mother figure in the house.
He was the mother figure in the house.
All right. So the next thing, open to all. How would you describe your mom's personality?
Gossip about people, and if it was black people, you did not put them down, no matter what they said or did.
There you go.
She always believed in that. She gave everyone, she saw the best in everyone, even though some people didn't have the best.
And what I remember most about her is when she took me to the school and wanted to register me. And one lady behind her said, if they can't read and write, they can't go to school. How old is he? And I think I was 5, November birthday. So that was late, but she said, if they can read and write, if he can read and write, he can go. So then I just sat down because Mother taught us all how to read and write when we were, in our first 5 years of our life, even before that. That's what I have. I remember the lady saying that to Mother. And she said, yeah, they can read and write. And we sat down and did it. That was it.
Well, in that one question it said about her personality, I said 2 things. I said that she was submissive, but she was given to hospitality. And the reason why I say she was submissive, I know whenever there was conflict or other people having discussion, everything, she would always say one of her favorite phrases was, I'll take low. Remember, she would say that all the time? She says, I'll take low.
The next question is, what phrases or sayings did your mom often use?
Until we meet again, I remember that much of it, but it was Irish. I didn't know it was an Irish blessing, but she always said that to her sisters when they left the house.
Any other phrases or sayings that she used to say?
She used to say, you got to get an education because that's the one thing the white man can't take from you. The one thing about Mom that, I remember one time Andy and Tom were out fighting by their cabin, and she grabbed Andy's left hand and Tom's right hand, and they both socked her, okay? But she stopped them from fighting.
So
one other thing before you move on, I wanted to say that I don't know, I was probably in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and our mother was selected for Mother of the Year. She didn't go to the banquet because it was at the Copper Club, and they didn't serve colored people. So I asked my mom, why aren't you going? And she said, they don't serve colored people. And it's like, I was 7 or 8 years old. I don't know what that meant, right? Anyhow, but the key is that she was always acknowledged for things, okay? That just shows how much she had on the ball and how other people saw what she did, okay? And I remember when Aunt May finally contacted Daddy, and Daddy was going to go to Michigan. She went to work somewhere. I don't remember where, but she went to work to supplement the income because Daddy wasn't working then and stuff like that. So anyway, she was the glue that held our family together. There's no doubt in my life. And, I know Papa Fred one time said to her, Anna, one of these days, those children are going to have you outside, daring you to come in this house. And all I can think about is, ain't nobody putting Mama Anna out. But that's what he said to her one day.
So speaking of which, what jobs do you remember your mom having outside of the home?
Working at St. Anne's Hospital. She worked there.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So Any other jobs that you remember your mom having?
She just worked at the nurse's aide at St. Anne's Hospital after her father died. And she and
That's
I
what
were
I,
in the
yeah, did
hospital
you
at
get
the
that?
same time.
Okay. What hobbies or interests did she have?
Because remember, she told us that there would be a black man in the White House during our generation, but none of us believed that. But she knew that.
What did your mom like to do with the family? Like any activities or games?
She really didn't have anything except cooking and sewing, okay?
Do you remember any significant challenges your mother faced?
Significant challenges really didn't happen until she got sick with cancer. She believed in good order and discipline, okay? And even though when our father passed, Andy was still at home. So that's 6 children that she had to keep in line, okay? As I look at that, she really did do that good order and discipline and kept everybody on track and going to school and all that. So she didn't really have much free time. She was always very busy and till she got sick, she really was just all the time working on making sure her children had what they needed. And, I'm sure I'm not the only Jackson where she had to talk to one of the teachers to say, you're not treating my child right.
So, did your mom start any family traditions, or were there any like holidays that she really enjoyed?
Yes, it was. I think it was Christmas more than anything. For the simple reason is we had an order that we took for washing dishes. Okay, and sometimes your day would fall if it fell on Christmas, and you still had to have your partner. There was just two of you. She paired us up, and we had to do the dishes, and that was the biggest chore I ever remember because she always invited her sisters and their children to for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and and so we used to complain. So she took out a pad and a pencil and started, man, and she wrote. For every holiday, she had a schedule where whoever it fell on, that's who did the dishes. And that's what's her making it fair because it was falling like on doing the dishes for one set of children. And I remember that she took that out and she kind of evened it up because we really hated it because we had so many dishes and stuff.
And the pots and pans. That was the other thing. I'll tell you, it was terrible. But yeah, she divided that up pretty good.
Yes, she did.
Any music that you remember that your mom really liked?
Only love can break a heart. Only love can mend it again.
Played it over and over and over again. But there was another song that she liked too. Besides Oh Holy Night, she really loved.
Oh, yes. She likes the Christmas carols. We'd always get around and sing Christmas carols around the piano.
Yeah.
She just loved that.